I want to take you now to Seoul, South Korea. We see the president and his team walking in there for this press conference. Key focus, we're expecting possibly to hear about North Korea and anything possibly about sanctions on Russia for the situation in Ukraine. Let's listen in.
Obama and President Park Geun-hye. The joint press conference will begin with the opening statement by two heads of the states, followed by a Q&A session. First, President Park Geun-hye will deliver the statement. I'd like to extend my sincere welcome to His Excellency President Obama. To the victims of the sunken ferry Seoul and their families, President Obama expressed consolation and sympathy and provide support. I truly thank you from the bottom of my heart. This is being simultaneously translated. President Obama's visit to Korea is the fourth time, and Seoul is the city he most frequently visited during his term. Of all the U.S. presidents, the number of his visits to Korea outnumbered that of his predecessors. This reflects President Obama's special interest on Korea and full commitment and confidence to further strengthen U.S.-ROK alliance. Most recent North Korea's provocation is its public announcement on possibility of engaging another nuclear test, thereby imposing threats and provocation. Amid such a situation, President Obama's visit to Korea sends a strong message to North Korea that its provocative acts cannot be tolerated. President Obama and I will spare no efforts to exercise deterrence against North Korea's provocation and strengthen our mutual cooperation. Above all, faced with the DPRK's threat, the U.S.-ROK's defense capabilities is solid and will be further cemented. Tomorrow, President Obama and I will jointly visit ROK-U.S. Combined Forces Command for the first time ever since it was formed in 1978 to reaffirm U.S.-ROK deterrence capabilities against DPRK. DPRK's so-called new pattern of provocation will bring about new level of international pressure. We also exchange views on what measures Korea and the U.S. need to take jointly together with the international communities in the face of DPRK's provocation. We sincerely hope that North Korea takes the course toward peace and stability while make a right choice to resolve distress and hardship that North Koreans undergo. We consider that the security environment is experiencing threats imposed by DPRK's nuclear program and missile activities. Therefore, we share the view that the timing and condition of the OPCON transfer slated for 2015 can be reviewed. We also agree to beef up our capacities to effectively deal with DPRK's nuclear and missile threats. As a part of that effort, Korea's air and missile defense KAMD will be developed into an independent system and will collaborate to enhance KAMD's interoperability while securing its efficient operation. The vital foundation of our alliance is high-level security dialogue, which we plan to further reinforce. In the later part of this year, 2+2 Defense and Foreign Affairs Ministers talk is scheduled. We expect the talks will be meaningful opportunity to discuss current issues, visions of our alliance, present and future of the Korean Peninsula. Based on strong deterrence capabilities of ROK and the U.S., we decided to lay the groundwork for sustainable peace and peaceful unification and make joint efforts to build new Korean Peninsula. To realize that, it is crucial to achieve progress in DPRK's denuclearization. We share the concern over DPRK's continuous attempt to advance its nuclear capabilities, so with a sense of urgency, we will make progress in the denuclearization. Based on our close coordination, we will continue our efforts to induce consistent response and active cooperation from the international communities, including the five parties. North Korea's pursuit of two goals at once, nuclear arsenals and economic development, are incompatible. DPRK must realize that. in an effort to lay the groundwork for peaceful unification in the Korean Peninsula, I explained to President Obama my initiative for peaceful unification presented in Dresden last month. In December 2012, as President Obama mentioned in Seoul, residents of both South and North Korea will eventually become free citizens of an integrated country. Reflecting development process of human history, barriers built due to conflict, distrust, social-cultural differences eventually collapse. During that process, I believe we need to shower the North Korean residents with caring interest and deliver a message of hope. Especially efforts are necessary to provide humanitarian assistance to North Koreans and recover our common sense of identity. Peaceful unification in the Korean Peninsula will provide new economic opportunities to its neighboring countries and allies and contribute to promote global peace and stability. Though North Korean regime rejects the initiative I proposed in Dresden, my proposal will assure minimal level of value of life to be enjoyed by North Koreans and recover common sense of identity between North and South Koreans. With that principle in mind, we will pursue the initiative. President Obama and I share the view that while the tension and conflict persist in Northeast Asian region, we must actively seek ways to promote peace and collaboration in the Northeast Asia. In that context, I strongly support the U.S. policy to rebalance toward the Asia-Pacific region as it contributes positively to the regional peace and cooperation. I firmly believe that President Obama's Asia trip demonstrates his strong commitment toward his policy of rebalancing toward the region and his pledge to implement the commitment. As the UN Security Council member, South Korea stands side by side with the U.S. to resolve any major issues undermining peace and stability in the global community. The U.S. and Korea are marching together to carry out development cooperative activities in Asia, Africa, and also poverty fightings. We'll gather our wisdom to tackle new global challenges such as climate change, energy, nuclear security, cybersecurity, marine security, and etc. Another important pillar of our alliance is practical cooperation in economic, social, and cultural sectors. This topic has continued so far and will continue. Course FTA together with the US-ROK Mutual Defense Treaty have become two major linchpin of our alliance. We plan to expand mutual beneficial cooperation based on Course FTA. We share the view that, followed by FTA between the two countries, TPP will enable both of our countries to expand our cooperation in the future. We will closely coordinate with each other regarding Korea's participation in TPP. Regarding the issue of the energy, scientists from two sides are conducting joint research in the field of IT, high-tech manufacturing, polar regions, space explorations, and news areas. They are closely collaborating. Further down the road, energy-related companies and experts from both sides have strengthened cooperation in clean energy and shale gas sector. Thus, we are stepping up the bilateral partnership to a new level. Today, after 60 years, precious 9 Korean cultural artifacts were returned to Korea. Such social and cultural cooperation between the U.S. and Korea will enrich our friendly ties and achieve further development. Based on the past 6 decades of unwavering trust built between the two nations, the US-ROK alliance will advance further so as to effectively handle the challenges in the Korean Peninsula, Northeast Asia, and the world. Our alliance will continuously strengthen its role as a linchpin for peace and stability in the Asia-Pacific region, and also contribute to the people of U.S. and Korea and the world. Once again, welcome to Korea, President Obama, and I wish you a successful Asia trip. Thank you. Next, President Obama will deliver the statement.
President Park, for your kind words and warm welcome. And I want to thank the people of South Korea for your enduring friendship and unfailing hospitality. As I said earlier, I know my visit comes at a time of great sorrow for your nation. And again, on behalf of all Americans, I want to express our deepest condolences, our edo, to all the families who lost loved ones on the ferry, Seoul. So many were young students with their entire lives ahead of them. I'm a father of two daughters of the same age or close to the same age as those who were lost, and so I can only imagine what the parents are going through at this point, the incredible heartache. I brought with me on this trip, in addition to the flag that I mentioned earlier, a magnolia tree from the south lawn of the White House. These magnolia trees have stood for more than a century, and they represent in our country beauty and with every spring renewal. The same qualities embodied by all those students. So during my visit, this tree will be presented to Danwon High School as a reminder of their beautiful lives and the friendship between our nations. And going forward, the United States will continue to offer whatever support we can provide as you respond to this tragedy. These difficult days remind us that whatever the challenges, our two nations stand together. Our alliance remains a linchpin of security in Asia. Our solidarity is bolstered by the courage of our service members, both Korean and American, who safeguard this nation. America's commitment to the South Korean people will never waver. And President Park, I want to thank you for your strong personal commitment to our alliance. I was honored to welcome you to Washington for your first foreign trip as president, and we've worked closely ever since. In our discussions today, we agreed to continue to modernize our alliance, including enhancing the interoperability of our missile defense systems. At the same time, President Park recommended, and I agreed, that given the evolving security environment in the region, including the enduring North Korean nuclear and missile threat, we can reconsider the 2015 timeline for transferring operational control for our alliance. Together, we'll ensure that our alliance remains fully prepared for our mission. With regard to North Korea, the United States and South Korea stand shoulder to shoulder, both in the face of Pyongyang's provocations and in our refusal to accept a nuclear North Korea. Threats will get North Korea nothing other than greater isolation. And we're united on the steps Pyongyang needs to take, including abandoning their nuclear weapons and ballistic weapons programs and living up to their international obligations. Of course, we're also deeply concerned about the suffering of the North Korean people. And the United States and South Korea are working together to advance accountability for the serious human rights violations being committed by the North. I mentioned to President Park that the United States supports the Korean people's desire for unification, and I share President Park's vision, as you outlined, Madam President, in your recent speech in Dresden, of a unified Korea that's free from the fear of war and nuclear weapons. It's a vision of a unified Korea where people throughout this peninsula enjoy the political and economic freedoms that exist here in the South. Beyond this peninsula, our alliance is increasingly a global one. We're grateful for South Korea's partnership, from typhoon relief in the Philippines to humanitarian efforts in Syria. As Madam President mentioned, we're working closely on new clean energy technologies to address climate change, and with the international community on an ambitious new climate agreement. Around the globe, we're leaders in development because we want more people to experience the kind of incredible growth and progress that South Korea shows is possible. And finally, we agreed to continue expanding our extraordinary economic ties. Since we signed our free trade agreement 2 years ago, our overall bilateral trade has gone up. The United States is exporting more to South Korea, and South Korea is exporting more to the United States, which supports good jobs in both countries. Today, President Park and I discussed how we can make sure that we implement KORUS fully, which would also help ensure that South Korea can eventually meet the high standards of the Trans-Pacific Partnership. So, President Park, thank you again for your partnership and for all that you've done to keep our alliance strong. I'm looking forward to our working dinner tonight. Time and again, we've seen how much our people can accomplish together, not just for our own countries, but for the security and prosperity of the people around the world. And we very much appreciate your leadership on that project. 감사합니다.